Hello everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a seriously mind-expanding journey into the philosophy of Zhushfeng. We're going to explore this entirely fascinating framework that attempts to take the massive, honestly incomprehensible scale of the cosmos and link it directly to our everyday pursuit of beauty. We're going to see exactly how the absolute origins of the universe connect to what we find beautiful right here on Earth. Let's get into it.
And it all kicks off with this. This is the author's core equation. Simple plus unsophisticated equals beautiful. Now on the surface, sure, that just looks like a nice basic statement about minimalism, right? But how the author actually proves this math, it's anything but minimal. We're going to look at how the most mind-bending mechanics of the universe, literally how matter is formed, somehow perfectly prove this exact simple math.
Okay, let's dive into this. To make sense of it all, the source material starts at the absolute bottom layer of reality, a totally unstructured foundation it calls holography. According to the text, holography is basically the negative universe. It's completely non-material, no specific structure at all. Instead, it's described as this unified world of spirits. And the author claims that this realm is the ultimate, rule-breaking complexity. It controls everything in our universe at what they call negative universe speed. Basically, heaven-human resonance. That means an event happening right here, right now, can be sensed instantly, tens of thousands of light years away.
Now, we are impartially reporting the text here, and this is where the author makes a truly bold claim. They assert that in this wild, mysterious realm of holography, our most famous established scientific theories completely lose their efficacy. They hold absolutely no value there. Einstein's relativity, quantum mechanics, superstring theory, even Stephen Hawking's work. The author argues that none of it applies in this non-material realm because it's a space of such profound, unstructured complexity that our human imagination just literally can't handle it.
But, we don't live in that invisible negative universe, do we? We live in the physical world. So gracefully pivoting from those huge cosmic mysteries, the text explains that we don't actually need to fully grasp holography yet. What we do need to recognize is the origin of physical matter, and the golden rule here is that everything in the physical universe originates from structure. As that wild cosmic chaos funnels down into our reality, it absolutely has to take on structure to exist.
To brilliantly illustrate this, the author uses a super grounded biological example. Just think about a fertilized egg. The life it becomes is strictly dictated by its origin structure. A dog's fertilized egg is structurally coded to become a dog, right? It's never going to suddenly develop into a pig. A monkey's fertilized egg will only ever result in a monkey. The physical matter of our entire universe is totally bound to whatever structural blueprint it started with.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the quote. Like the sound from a flute and an erhu differs, depending on the different structures of the instruments. It's such a poetic analogy. The author is pointing out that even when you get into incredibly complex physics, like superstring theory, it all still relies on a foundational structure to create its unique music. Just like a flute sounds completely different from an erhu, which is a traditional Chinese two-stringed instrument, simply because their physical shapes are different.
But, well, this presents a bit of a dilemma for us humans. These microscopic structures that literally dictate our lives, quarks, protons, neutrons, photons, single molecules, they are totally invisible to the naked eye. While they are absolute marvels of the universe, they can't exhibit their beauty to us. You can't just step back and admire the aesthetic curves of a single electron, as cool as that would be.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because this is where the universe funnels down from massive complexity into tangible simplicity. It starts way up at holography, drops into structure, turns into superstrings, which form particles, which group into molecules, and finally, they become observable matter. It's an incredible, exact de-evolution sequence from the completely incomprehensible down to the beautifully simple.
So why does the universe bother doing all that? Why is this simplification so absolutely crucial? Because, as the text points out, without it, the emergence of human society just wouldn't be possible. Simplification perfectly aligns with the way of life on Earth. If everything stayed trapped at that chaotic, invisible quantum level, our ability to appreciate the world around us simply wouldn't exist. And honestly, the proof of this is everywhere in the natural world. Look at these examples from the source. Gazing at twinkling stars, feeling a gentle breeze and sunshine, blooming flowers, flowing rivers, towering mountains. None of these are mathematically complex to look at. They are incredibly simple, yet they evoke this profound, undeniable sense of beauty. And that perfectly proves the very first part of our equation. Simplicity itself is beautiful.
Section 2. The human element, finding true beauty. Now, transitioning to the human experience, we have to recognize that for people, being merely simple might just seem foolish or naive unless it's paired with something much deeper.
So the crucial point is this second half of the equation. Human beauty lies primarily in our unsophisticated pure nature, rather than just our external looks. The author argues that among all of our intrinsic qualities, unsophistication, meaning a totally pure, uncalculated vibe, is the most precious thing we can have. Because if someone is physically gorgeous but packed with complex, superficial, ulterior motives, we instantly lose the ability to feel true beauty from them.
The author brilliantly juxtaposes rural and urban life to show this in action. Imagine folks from a complex city, which the text describes as superficial and polluted by consumerism. When they visit a pure, untainted countryside and get those shy but respectful greetings from the locals, they absolutely feel a profound sense of beauty. But flip it around. When rural folks visit a big city with its flashing neon and massive crowds, they definitely feel amazement. But beauty? Not really. To them, the city is just way too complex and superficial to be truly beautiful.
We actually see this exact same contrast as we age. The text points out that we experience the most abundant beauty when we're children. Why? Because our lens is perfectly simple and pure. But as we transition into adulthood, we start experiencing less and less beauty. The world didn't actually change, but we started looking at it through this cynical lens of complexity and superficiality.
Which brings us to a really stark warning from the author. As our human society becomes increasingly complex, vulgar, and totally obsessed with the superficial, we are heavily deviating from the true path. The universe literally built itself to move from chaos to beautiful simplicity. By abandoning our unsophisticated nature for extreme complexity, the author warns we aren't just losing our eye for beauty, we are at risk of losing absolutely everything.
And I'll leave you to reflect deeply on this direct, piercing rhetorical question from the author. People, do you not long for beauty? If the cosmos itself works so incredibly hard to distill its chaos into beautiful, simple structures, shouldn't we be trying to reflect that exact same simplicity in how we live our lives? Think about that next time things get a little too complicated. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I'll see you next time.